Hello guys, ThunderDragon06 here, and this is kind of like a break from all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Upcoming pack videos and things like that. This is just like a video. It's like a break from that, and I'm just going into some insta-kill strategies where you can win the duel instantly in a couple of turns or so. And right when this strategy is completed, I'm gonna go over one of them, which is called the jackpot combo right here. And so once the strategy is completed, you pretty much win the duel. This is pretty much like a win condition, and it's pretty simple to do once you get to know to do it. I guess if you have a deck really built around it, then you can pull it off in maybe even 2 turns, maybe even 1 if you find a better way than I have it right here. But this is the jackpot combo. So first, what you need is 3 jackpot 7s. So that's the card's name. Jackpot 7 itself is the card's name. This is the card right here. So you need 3 jackpot 7 spell cards. You need a morphing jar, which is a monster, for those of you who don't know, and you need the spell card Mystic Box. And the rest of this is just pretty much optional up to here. You don't really need cards to protect the morphing jar, but I like to be prepared just in case things happen. Yeah, I just like to be prepared. But the strong monster here is required because you need a strong monster to attack Morphing Jar to activate its flip effect, because this whole combination or combo is pretty much built around activating Morphing Jar's effect. And I'll get into that in a second. So you don't necessarily need a super strong monster. It just needs to have more than, let's see here, 600 defense points. That's not necessarily a strong monster. But anyways, I just said strong monster. But you need these 3 cards, and I'm just going to go over the effects first, and then let's get into the process of the actual strategy. So the first card, Jackpot 7, you need 3 of these, is when this card is activated, shuffle this card from the field into the deck. When this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, banish this card. If 3 of your Jackpot 7 cards are currently banished, and were all banished by this effect, you win the duel. So you don't really need to pay attention to the beginning part, because the whole point of the strategy is not to activate this spell card. It's to have all 3 of them in your hand, because they will be in your possession at that point. And then the second effect is pretty much where we're concerned. If 3 of your when this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, then you can banish it. And if you have 3 Jackpot 7s banished currently, you win the duel. So what you're essentially trying to do is have your opponent activate card effects to destroy this card so it can banish itself, and then banish 3 of itself, so you win the duel. But it's going to take a long time for your opponent to actually activate card effects and destroy this card, even if you have it face down as a spell card or so. And maybe if you pull it off the first duel, and if you win, it's not going to happen the second time, because your opponent's going to know that you have Jackpot 7 in your deck. So that's not a reliable strategy, just to rely on your opponent to destroy this card for you. What I like to do is this strategy, which is really good, makes it pretty OP. The next card is Morphing Jar. This is pretty obvious, but for those of you who don't know, you just flip, like the flip effect, if it gets attacked, and both players discard their entire hands, then draw 5 cards. Pretty simple. And this is supposed to be Mystic Box. I do not know what happened, but Mystic Box is pretty much like target 1 monster your opponent controls, you destroy it, and then you give control of 1 card, 1 monster you control, and that's pretty much it. So this is the process. What you're trying to do here is have all 3 Jackpot 7s in your hand. It's going to take a while, but if you have the perfect hand, you'll have them. And then set your Morphing Jar. And then, once you have your Morphing Jar set, and then your Jackpot 7 in your hand, then what you do, by the way, you need all 3 Jackpot 7s. Then what you do is activate Mystic Box, which is a spell card. Destroy one of your opponent's monsters, and then give possession of this Morphing Jar right here to your opponent. And once you do that, pretty much it goes into their possession, so when you do activate the flip effect, it's going to be their card effect, not your card effect. And after Mystic Mystic Box resolves, what you're going to do is essentially either that turn or the next turn, whenever you feel like it, attack with a stronger monster that has more than 600 attack points, destroy the Morphing Jar or activate its flip effect, so both players discard all the cards from their hands, and when you do discard Jackpot 7s, what happens is it banishes itself, because it was in your possession, which is your hand, it banishes itself, and then once all 3 are banished, you win the duel. That's about it. It's pretty simple, but you do need a good hand to do this, because it's kind of like the pieces of Exodia. It's hard to get all the Jackpot 7s into your hand, but you can use cards like, I suggest, Gold Sarcophagus and Different Dimension Capsule, just to, you can activate them in the beginning of the duel and then get them into your hands. And there's a lot of other cards, like monsters and stuff, that draw spell cards into your hand, so it's not going to be too much of a problem, especially if you have a good deck built around this strategy. And I would personally build a deck around this, because it's a win condition. It's an easier win condition than reducing your opponent's life points to 0. Much easier than doing that. It's just, once you have the perfect hand, you're set, unless your opponent stops you, which is why I have the preventing cards and the protector cards, like, for example, over here, Impenetrable Attack, and you can have whatever you want to, like Mystical Space Typhoons, a couple of them, and then, like, prevent your opponent from disrupting your strategy, and you're good. You just won yourself the duel. And there are other ways to do it, which I've mentioned here, with cards such as Dark Deal and Fabled Dianera, but I'm not going to go into that too much because it's not part of the strategy. But you can craft yourself a strategy similar to this with those cards, and there's a bunch of other cards that you can use in this strategy, but I feel like this is pretty good for now. I feel it's a pretty good strategy if you do pull off a good hand. So that's it for this video. I'm going to go into more win conditions next time. Next time I want to do something like, next time I look at my blog. But this, oh yeah, by the way, this is my blog. It's called all-yugioh.blogspot.ca. I'll post it in the description below. Check it out. I do need people to check it out over there, and I do have a forum too. I'll link it up in the description. And yeah, that's it for the video. If you liked it, please click on that like button, and also subscribe if you're new to my channel, which you probably are. But that's about it. Thunder Dragon 06 is out.